It's still January 14th, a little bit early, so it'd be interesting to see how the young guns for them come along because a lot of a lot of news outlets is kind of predicting this team to make the jump. The new coach hire with Scott Skiles and Tobias Harris signed his contract, so he's back in there for him long term. Uh, so you're looking at the jump of Victor Oladipo, Alfred Payton, to name a few. So and on the Raptors side, you got Kyle Lowry who done dropped 15 some pounds. If you ever get on his Instagram and see how much he really had lost some weight. So they had a picture posted with him in Vegas with Kyle O'Quinn and C.J. Washington and some of the other guys. I can't remember on top of my head who some of the players were, but so you'll see Kyle Lowry. He's slimmed down. So DeMar DeRozan still ascending to the All-Star talent that he is. So him growing and Terrence Ross. So that's a nice young team. So both of these teams and Valanciunas is their center. So they're a young team, and I know they done had a little bit of a rough start trying to get out the first round. So it'd be a good showcase for both of these teams to now already that they got some international fans will gain quite a few bit more, and it's always good to try to expand basketball in other areas, which is very well represented in London and across the world. So that's my 10th game. My 9th game is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Pacers. They play on February the 8th. Roy Hibbert was once proclaimed a magnificent defensive stopper who had an excellent series against Miami 3 years ago. And then 2 years ago, the Atlanta series where they was taking the 7 games and even were down at one point to Atlanta. They did eventually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals to lose to Miami. But that, Roy, it seemed like has been taking a hit as far as I don't know if his ability to play basketball and everything like that. He still is a wonderful player on the defense side of the ball. So that's something that he definitely can blame to LA. But there's been I guess I can say it's been kind of too easy to jump on Roy Hibbert right now. So this is a fresh start for him. So Larry Bird, they advised him to opt out, and Roy decided to opt in. And Larry was very vocal about that he is going to make him available in trade talks, and LA took a chance on him and trade for him, and so I'm also interested to see what Kobe can do with this guy in his last year. There's someone with a competitive fire that can bring it out of somebody. Kobe at least can try to help this guy and be what he once was on the defensive end. He was definitely someone that can definitely provide you some rebounding, some blocking in the paint, some point. Make sure your points in the paint was being very manageable. So he is somewhat a talent. I mean, come on, honestly, he's in the NBA, so he's some kind of talent there. But I know everybody hits him hard with the 0.0 rebounds and everything like that. But hopefully for Roy, this is a fresh start for him, and he just becomes a service player than what he was, because I don't want to see him be that one and done type of deal. So, and I'm also interested to see how he reacts to the Pacer fans, and Pacer fans react to him, because Indiana's got some great fans. So I don't really see them booing Roy, but you never know these days. But like I said, it should be interesting to his trip back to Indiana. So I'm sure he's very grateful for the time he has spent there. So. All right, next game that I'm going to keep my eye on is the Dallas Mavericks versus the Brooklyn Nets. That will be on December 23rd. You got an owner, the Brooklyn Nets owner, Prokofiev. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Michael Prokofiev. Definitely was not scared of spending money to bring talent here. It may have been over the hill talent. He brought in KG. He brought in Kevin Garnett. You don't know who KG is. And Paul Pierce from the Brooklyn. Well, they went to the Brooklyn Nets, but from the Boston Celtics. So he was trying to, cash in right now, win now with the core that they had with him and Joe Johnson and Brook Lopez. So definitely a core that you could have build around a little bit to try to make a little short stint run. But it was definitely the vision that they had after that is probably what cost them now. So Darren simply wanted to be traded, wanted to be released and everything like that. So they did release him. Paul Pierce was even on quote saying, and I'm just paraphrasing this, is that he didn't seem like Darren wanted the spotlight. Before he come in there, he easily thought he was a top 3-point guard in his mind, and he just never came to fruition to how he wanted to see him play. So a little bit of a bummer, because when he was running with Sloan in Utah, he was definitely a top 2, top 3-point guard that always we were discussing about, and was just money with pick and roll with Carlos Boozer back in the day. So we'll see what he does in Dallas. He's back home, and maybe that'll motivate him a little bit more to, play a little bit of ball. So that'd be fun to see how the New York fans act, because, I mean, honestly, we know how New York fans are. They are brutal. So they're probably going to really give it to Darren and probably say some words that I can't say on the podcast. So I'm pretty sure you'll probably hear a lot of bleeping out when this game is played. So the one game I have on League Pass, and see how Darren is taken back when he comes back to Brooklyn. My 7th game would be the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. That is October 30th. It's going to be the reigning MVP, Steph Curry, versus the MVP runner-up in James Harden. It is a rematch of the Western Conference Finals. James Harden, who really started off fantastic in this series and really thought it was going to be a series of first 2 games, he really didn't play too well, especially in Game 5. He laid up a dud and had 12 turnovers. And I know there was a whole little joke about the little B curse going on because he did the flick of the wrist dance, and then they played into it and everything like that. And, of course, James Harden got caught with one of his side chicks, so it seemed like everything was falling down on him in that time being. So it was the curse of Lil B. But besides that, James Harden didn't show like that MVP caliber player that he was earlier in that series, and then also early in the season. But early on, this is an early game in October, so the Rockets still need to prove that they're a contender in the West, because there's quite a few teams that made a jump over them. The Rockets are still playoff material, but are they contender material? This here, they can answer the question when they play the Warriors, who is the reigning champions. So you got your shot to prove on early if you can go ahead and contend in the West. So, all right, December 18th, you got the San Antonio Spurs versus the Los Angeles Clippers. This playoff series last year was like watching a boxing match. If you remember this series went 7 games, and Chris Paul was battling hamstring injuries, and he was still able to drop 27 points, and the go-ahead winning series shot went all the way on the backboard, teardrop, and went in, which was amazing. But some of the shots that they had in this game, where he was going into the fourth quarter and had to hit a shot and gave him the lead there. So it was just really throwing blows here with this game. And this is a series that everybody thought that, the Spurs was going to win. And it was just the luck of the draw for the Clippers that they get this series, because they was a number 3 seed and the Spurs slipped down. And the West is always a mess, because you always have 6 teams that won 50-some games. So it's going to be a little bit of show because of divisions and all that, and it just gets messy. So this Clippers got the unlucky fair to draw, but they didn't complain. They went ahead and played this team and knew they was playing against Goliath and Tim Duncan and Mun Ginobili and Tony Parker, and they beat them in 7 games. So it was a fantastic series to watch. And I think with this now, with them retooling the Spurs by adding LaMarcus Aldridge and David West and a couple more pieces that they got on that squad, it's going to be a fun game to watch, because I'm sure the Spurs definitely December that early on, they want to stamp like, hey, you know what, y'all beat us, y'all came back and beat us in a tough game, and so I'm going to show you that we are this team is not to be reckoned with. I'm still a little concerned about the Spurs' depth, but like I said, I'll break that down once the NBA season comes around, so I don't want to get into too much details about that. All right, next game that I want to keep an eye on, this is going to be an early game, October 30th. It's going to be the Miami Heat versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Heat do boast one of the best starting lineups in the East. They have Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Whiteside, Dragic, Ding. So just to name their starting lineup. So their benches, in my opinion, is not strong. I know I'm sure Kevin will argue that, but this is a team that definitely their lineup competes with anyone in the East. Their starting lineup. So if they're healthy, man. They're healthy. this is a start to them to prove that, you know what, going against the Cavs, which is the Eastern Conference champions and definitely the favorite team coming out of the East, they can make a statement early because, you know, this is probably who they have to go through. The Cavaliers and this, you know, it's Waze and Bosh Buddy and LeBron James. So this will be a fun matchup to watch early on, and you get a little glimpse of, you know, if it's going to be the East elite or is it still going to be the Bulls and Atlanta and Toronto saying, hey, are we still on top of the East as well, too? So a lot of posturing. Should be fun to watch as always. Waze seemed to bring his best out against LeBron. So I would imagine this would be a very classic game and go down to the wire. So we all love going down to the wire games, especially early in the season. Get you pretty amped about the season. So, all right, next game I'm gonna keep my eye on is the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's gonna be on December 17th. This game boasts what you call the barbershop argument. You know, Kevin Durant versus the King. Yeah, well, best shooter and, you know, best guy who can create his own shot and best overall player, best defender. There's so many things you can go on by. Best one who can help set up his teammates. So, it's, of course, there's going to be your LeBron fans. There's going to be your KD fans. So, and I mean, honestly, it's KD versus LeBron. These are the two best players in the league right now, regardless of the MVP standings that had Steph and James Harden last year. I mean, everybody knew in their right mind that this is the matchup you want to see. So, of course, with this, you know, you had Kevin Durant battling injuries the year prior to and was never healthy. And now there's been reports that he had a bone spur in his leg. So we just hope he gets healthy because this is the deepest that this Thunder team has been in a while since they had James Harden on the team. They got a lot of talent on this team here. They got Cantor returning. You got Ibaka returning. You have Mitch McGary. Just their front line is pretty solid. Their backcourt, you got DJ Augustine coming off the bench. So, I mean, Westbrook and Kevin Durant have a lot of help. They just both have to stay healthy. And for them here, this is also a statement game for KD because just a few days ago, he said he's the best player on the planet. And I don't mind confidence, but we all know the best player in the planet resides in Cleveland. So, at least that's my opinion. But everybody got their own opinion about that. But there's nothing wrong with KD saying that because he's rightfully so is one of the best players on the planet. So, Mitch, he's a matchup nightmare. He got a 6'10" that can shoot like a shooting guard, got the handles of a point guard. He's a threat. So, yes, he got a right to say that. And this is a statement game for him early on and to show, you know, the Cavs and everybody in the West that when healthy, Thunder team is nothing to wreck with. So, that'll be a fun game to watch. Next game is going to be the Warriors versus the Spurs. That game is on March 19th. The Warriors already feeling disrespected. There's already reports saying that the top favorites are the Spurs and not them. And this game's later on in the season, so if it was early, because you know this is, of course, right now projected to be the top two teams in the West. So you wonder what implications we'll have later on in the season. So you don't know where the standings are going to be at right now, but this game would have been fun to watch early on. So this is a knock on the schedule is here, so you would have had more value watching this game early instead of later. But the Warriors do have a chip on their shoulder after winning a championship, so rightfully so they should feel disrespected, and including myself. I don't think they will repeat, but you know this is where Steph Curry and his crew and need to go ahead and prove everybody wrong once again because, like I said, I didn't think they was going to win the title. Well, I didn't think they was going to make the playoffs last year, but that's just my bold prediction. Oh, they're making the playoffs this year. So I can at least tell you that. Injury-free, if that is. So that game will be fun to watch. Next game, keep my eye on is the Warriors versus the Cavs. This is the Christmas game. It's the final rematch. It's always got to be one to watch. I mean, LeBron almost single-handedly led this injury-depleted roster over the Cavs. This is a roster that didn't have Kevin Love to a shoulder injury. Kyrie Irving had issues with his foot, had issues with leg, had issues with he just broke down. And then you got Aaron Vera out. So this team